What's up, guys? It's Andrew coming back at you with another episode of the Jaguar podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be doing a Jags 2022 NFL mock draft. So let's get into it. But before I start, quick shout out to one of our partners and affiliates, FL Teams, a great Florida sports website. They do coverage of all Florida sports teams, and I put my content up there as well. It's flteams.com. Link in the video description. All right. So let's get into it, guys. The Jags in round one select for their number one pick, Evan Neal, left tackle out of the University of Alabama. He is a generational left tackle. Reminds me a lot of Baselli, who we picked at, I think it was number 2 in the 1995 NFL draft. We need a, asset at the left tackle position that's going to protect one of our most important assets, and that being Trevor Lawrence, who was our number one pick in the 2021 draft. So we need Evan Neal there to protect his blind side. And he's a physical specimen, 6'7", 337 pounds. He could play, guard. He could play tackle. And he was a starter as a freshman at University of Alabama. He was, I think, SEC all freshman and a team captain. I think he's, a guy that's going to be a starter day one. And I know you guys are probably thinking, why draft Evan Neal when we have Cam Robinson, who we franchise tagged? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, I think Cam Robinson is pretty much an insurance policy at this point. And, we have to clear some way for salary cap, especially for rookie contracts. So, Cam Robinson has a $16.7 million deal, I think. So, if we, don't trade him, we're not going to have really a lot of cap left for rookie contracts. So, I could see the Jags potentially tagging and trading him to the Carolina Panthers for their, I believe it was their number 6 pick. And I'll be going into that in a little bit. But that's what I really think the Jags should do. They should trade Cam Robinson over to the Panthers for their number 6. We're going to have to give up some draft capital. I'll get into that, like I said. But that's what I think we should do. Other Jags fans may be thinking, you have Walker Little at right tackle, at left tackle, that you drafted last year out of Stanford. He can just play left tackle. Well, my answer to that is he's fairly inexperienced. He's played 3 games. He did okay, but, I think he's still pretty green. And I think moving him over to the right side to compete with Jawan Taylor is probably the best move at this point. Jawan's kind of struggled with penalties, and I think that would be the best thing, honestly, to move Walker over to the right side and have him compete with Jawan. Maybe he makes Jawan better. Maybe he wins the job. A lot of people are like, well, it's hard to play. It's hard to move from left tackle to right side. I mean, it's definitely doable, and there's so many tackles that have done it. Andrew Whitworth, Tristan Wirfs, Orlando Brown. It's definitely doable. So that's why I went with this pick at number 1, Evan Neal. He's the guy, and we need to select him. So our next pick actually will be a trade. This will be the first of 2 trades. The Jags will be trading in the first round left tackle Cam Robinson, K'Lavon Chaisson, who we drafted, I believe, 2 years ago in the first round, defensive end, and then our 180th pick and our 2023 4th round pick. And from there, we end up drafting at number 6, Jermaine Johnson, the second, defensive end at a FSU. And I think this guy is a sleeper, draft pick. He's an amazing athlete. I mean, he is 6'5", 254 pounds, very fast, runs I think a 4.58 40. That's pretty fast for a defensive end. Had 12 sacks in 2021. And he was ACC Defensive Player of the Year. So, I definitely see the Jags needing to beef up their outside pass rush, and Jermaine Johnson is the guy. So that's why I selected him at number 6. And I think he will help Josh Allen. Maybe he'll take some of the double teams off of him, and maybe Josh Allen has a bigger impact in the 2022 season. All right, so then we go to our next trade in the first round, and that is the Jags trading wide receiver Laviska Shenault, their second round 33rd pick, and then their 6th round 198th pick over to the Jets for their number 10 pick in the first round. Why I see this being a plausible and a reasonable deal is really that the Jets need wide receiver help. And Laviska Shenault is, I think, a good receiver. He struggled last season. Now, a lot of people could say that could be to the wide receiver coaching staff, Sanjay Lal, and maybe Urban Meyer's staff just wasn't good. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why he could have struggled, but I think the Jets could really use him. They need help in their wide receiver core, so I definitely think this would be a good trade. Also, giving them a second round 33rd pick, they may be able to pick up another wide receiver in the second round as well. And we get their number 10 pick in the first round. And with that, I have the Jags selecting the Nakobe Dean, linebacker out of Georgia. The Jags have a huge need at linebacker, especially weak side linebacker, given that Myles Jack has been released and he went over to Pittsburgh. I think Nakobe Dean would be a huge upgrade and a backfill for Myles Jack. I think he'd work really well with Boye Olakun, who we acquired from the Falcons in free agency. This guy, he won the Butkus Award in 2021. He had 6 sacks, 10.5 tackles for loss, 6 pass deflections, and I think he had two interceptions as well. I mean, he can run, the field. He's a great pursuit guy. He's great in coverage. He can blitz really well, which I think Mike Caldwell will really be able to utilize him. Mike Caldwell, the defensive coordinator for the Jaguars. So that's why I went with this. I went with the trade to get Nakobe Dean. He's the best linebacker in this draft. All right. So we go to our next pick. That's in round 3. Pick number 65. It's Luke Fortner, center out of Kentucky. The Jags need a lot of help with their interior offensive line, especially since we lost Brandon Lindner. He retired. So that's why I went with Luke Fortner. He is a great depth selection at center. He could also play guard as well. So he can be that kind of swing interior lineman. He could back up Shatley, who's probably going to be our starter, maybe even compete for the job with him. He could also back up Barch or Scherf, right? The 2 guards. So it's nice to have him. He's kind of he's almost kind of like Shatley or Linder. And he was first team all SEC in 2021. So I really like this. I mean, especially since, we went for some trades there in the first round, getting, Jermaine Johnson and Nakobe Dean, more defensive picks. I think Fortner will really help with the interior offensive line and really help the Jags have some depth there. So, I'm going with Luke Fortner, center out of Kentucky. All right, our next pick in round 3, the 70th pick here, that's Logan Brus, guard out of Wisconsin. Again, this is another depth selection for the interior offensive line. He's a guard. I think, again, he's going to be a nice backup there for Barch, or maybe he competes with Barch on the right side for the starting job. He was second all Big Ten there, second team all Big Ten in 2021. He can also play tackle as well, so it could be a backup there or a swing position there for him. So that's why I went with Logan Brus in the 3rd round at pick number 70. We go to our next pick here in round 4, 106th pick, and I go with Zaquandre White, running back out of University of South Carolina. I went with this pick because we need a little depth there at running back. You know, we have Robinson, who's had some injury trouble. I think he tore his Achilles late in 2021 season. And then, of course, we have Travis Etienne, who has had some injury trouble as well. Liz Frank, like foot injury. So he'll be returning this season, and hopefully he'll be productive, but it'd be nice to have some depth at the running back spot. And honestly, Zaquandre White, he's a versatile running back. He can be a receiver's back. He can just, he can be a cowbell as well. He could also play special teams, which is nice. So he could be, a backup for Agnew, who's our, primary kick return and punt return specialist. But that is why I went with this pick in round 4. We go to our next pick here. That is in the 5th round, the 157th pick, and that is Taylor Britt. He is a defensive back out of Nebraska. Adds, again, more depth at the safety or in the secondary. He can play corner. He can play safety. So, he's going to be likely probably a backup to, Cisco or Thomas. Maybe he plays special teams. Again, maybe he even competes for the roster spot, maybe with Andrew Wingard, or I don't know. But I think that this would be a nice depth selection for the Jags secondary. And then we go into round 6 here. I'm not going to spend too much time in the lower rounds, but we have our the 197th pick in the 6th round. That's Zach McLeod from Miami. Adds some nice depth at the linebacker spot. We definitely need it. So that is why I selected him for the 197th pick. And then we have Samori Toure, wide receiver from Nebraska, at the 222nd pick. And then Colby Peele, from a safety from Oklahoma State, again, would add some nice special teams or depth in the secondary. So those are my draft picks, guys. Very aggressive draft picks, or draft kind of strategy, rather. It's a do or die draft, honestly, in my opinion. Balky's really, he's got to have a great draft. We have to fill those priority spots, left tackle, linebacker, defensive end, and in the interior offensive line as well. So let me know how you feel about my mock draft. Leave me a comment on the YouTube video or podcast episode. Subscribe to the channel. As always, guys, stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy. Go Jags, and I'll see you next time. Duval! What's up, everybody? It's Andrew from the Jaguar Podcast. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, there's more content over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as always. And remember, this is a podcast, so you can find this pretty much wherever you find podcasts. There I'll be doing interviews of current and former Jaguars players, including Joe Schobert, DeJuan Smoot, Shaq Quarterman, etc. And I also do interviews of former Jaguars players, including Natron Means, Jimmy Smith, Tom McManus, etc. So be sure to check out the podcast, subscribe to it, stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy, go Jags, and I'll see you next time.